The towering buildings, neat infrastructure, order and much more are the badges on Japan's shoulders as it boasts of being one of the world's strongest economies. The school of thought of the Japanese workforce is credited as being part of the reason why the country has grown as much as it has.
Japan has been built on self-reliance. This is a country with no natural resources. And their philosophy of Keynesian, which calls on continuous innovation. What it is that drives you to go to your office or to your factory or to your assembly line? It should not be just a salary to maintain yourself and family. It has to be the commitment that you have on that particular institution.
This growth that has seen it earn its space in the League of World Powers has seen it becoming one of the main development partners to many countries and especially in Africa.
From 2008 to 2013, only for these 5 years, Japan built 1,321 schools and refurbished 4,778 healthcare facilities in Africa. Also, Japan helped double the rice production on African continent.
We are the leading ODA recipient from any monies coming out of Japan. Very, very significant, standing in the tune of about 472 billion US dollars over the last duration.
What is the current state of the trade between Kenya and Japan?
One of the major hurdles here has been the huge trade imbalance, which is skewed towards Japan at a ratio of 1 to 14. We are exporting goods worth 5.3 billion Kenya shillings, while we are importing close to about 85.6 billion shillings worth of goods.
Unaonelea vipi uhusiano wa Kenya na Japan haswa kwa mambo ya kibiashara na mambo mengine pia?
Wajapani ya kibiashara sasa walikuwa wanangojea tu, lakini sasa wanaanza kufikiria kazi gani sasa waanze hapa Kenya na tena Afrika. Ninataka kuwaambia wanabiashara wa Japani, unjua hapa kujenga kama factory au kuongeza kazi kwa wa Kenya wa kijana. Sasa kama huna pesa, lazima upate kazi kwanza, halafu upate pesa, halafu upate familia.
Kenya has been exporting lower value products when compared to what it imports from Japan. These include tea, macadamia nuts, and coffee. Though these may have good value, they typically get exported in their raw forms and in low volumes, which are not enough to shift the skewed trade relationship.
We've just concluded a trade investment agreement in principle. This needs to be signed. Probably we are hoping to be signed in August. If that does happen, then we'll get huge Japanese companies setting base in Kenya.
The plans for Japanese firms to set up shop in Kenya seem to be gaining ground as there is already a plan by a significant player in the financial sector.
Last year when I joined 12 CEOs to Nairobi, they had a presidential roundtable. And during that roundtable discussions, Mizuho Bank, one of the 3 major banks here in Japan, signed an MOU with the Kenya Investment Authority. So very soon you'll be having a Japanese bank.
Kenya's blue economy remains underutilized. The potential of the marine resource is yet to get fished out, as it would be a great point of business with Japan. Ambassador Maina says that if Kenya gets Japanese investors who deal with huge fish processing plants, it would make a huge difference to exports, and the agreement that is pending approval would cater for such engagements. However, one thing that may drag Kenya's prospects down is the greatest thorn in the flesh: corruption, which, if not tamed, poses the risk of making the country lose out on a lot of opportunities.
In the past, in other countries, we faced some difficulties about the corruption issues. And that incident made a big hurdle for both countries to continue our financial cooperation.
One of Japan's main competition in development partnership in Africa is China, which in a number of instances wins deals on lower costs. The Japanese say they will not bow to pressures of lower prices as it likely compromises quality.
Japanese company puts priority on the sustainability of the business. If they propose a very bad quality infrastructure with a very low price and short period, they could be win that bid only, but from next bidding, they cannot be invited. They know the importance of the sustainability of the business.
This is the Kenyan embassy in Tokyo, which is one of the key points of interaction between Kenya and Japan. Another significant point of interaction between the two states is going to be in August during the Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development 6, or TICAD 6, which will make its African debut in Nairobi. Now we look at some of the implications of this and why, for instance, the common Mwananchi or the Kenyan should care that this African flag off takes place on their home ground.
Kenya not only stands to benefit from the many thousands of delegates who will be coming into Kenya, but also to be able to showcase and to continue to emphasize some of the development programs that we have. We're also going to use the opportunity, for example, to there is works and partnerships that we have with Japan, with Mombasa Port, that there will be additional support that I'm sure we'll be working on to get from them. The Mwea irrigation to expand rice production in our country.
TICAD 6が開催されることによって
By hosting this TICAD 6 in Nairobi, Kenya, what I can expect is that Japanese businesses or Japanese the companies will expand their scope and their business in Kenya.
大きなそのビジネス経済面で
It has never happened before. The business community will engage with our leaders at plenary sessions. Surrounding all this will be what we call the side events, where our ordinary mwananchi, the SMEs, will be able to come out and showcase themselves to the rest of Africa. If I'm the small innovator somewhere in Ngara, and I'm given the platform by KEPSA and the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce or the Kenya Industrial Estates.
TICAD is a Japanese-initiated multilateral forum where various players have discussions, showcases and agreements follow. This is the 6th time this is happening, and the Japanese are looking to show what they term greater commitment to the African cause.
Japanese Prime Minister Mr. Shinzo Abe will come for TICAD 6 in August. He will be accompanied by a representative of at least 100 Japanese companies.
The theme of this year is targeting the issues of industrialization.
TICAD is not an avenue through which Japan will give a check to Africa. TICAD is an African development conference by Africa and for Africa. Its substance should not be decided or predefined by Japan or other development partners.
The relations between Kenya and Japan are not limited to the high-level interactions such as government to government, government to business, or business to business. It also comes down to education and capacity building, as is seen through platforms such as the African Business Education Initiative, some of whose courses are studied here at the Graduate School of International Development, which is part of the Nagoya University.
ABE is a scholarship that was set up by the Japanese government, targeting African youth, focusing on business development and finding a way to expand the already existing cooperation between African states and Japan. Kenya has a bigger number of participants.
Kenyans who have gone to study in Japan under the Abe initiative have learnt a lot that can be borrowed and benefit their home country.
Being efficient, that's also a big part of why things work so well in Japan. And I think they're very practical and pragmatic in how they do things. There's a lot of structure, there's a lot of order, and there's a lot of planning.
Timekeeping, we are very poor at timekeeping, and here it's very important. Japanese culture involves a lot of preparedness. They don't go to a place without proper schedule. Everything is actually fully organized.
The reverse also applies. There are things that Japan can learn from Kenya.
We're a bit more lively, we're a bit more out there. Young people could learn being open to taking risks and exploring, and I think it would open a whole new world of opportunities for them.
The family foundation in Kenya, I think it's more strong and more good.
The education system in Kenya has in the past laid heavy emphasis and prominence on white-collar jobs, rendering the more technical ones into a more belittled space in the eyes of many, yet these careers are very essential for the growth of the country and the economy. Do you feel enough is being done in Kenya vis-a-vis what you've seen and experienced in Japan when it comes to giving platform and empowering the technical courses?
It's a good thing, but we need to do more than that, because the practical aspect of training, especially for technical courses, I think is still wanting. Most of the times we can have like a lot of money given to the sector and a lot of facilities brought to the sector, but if the people there do not have that kind of attitude and the organization that I have seen in Japan, I think it will not like bring out the best result.
They are not so focused on, just passing the exams. For example, you can have a course, a whole unit, and it's very intensive. But then at the end of the day, what matters is how you relate the topic to your day-to-day activities or new ideas and everything. But back home, the system is usually about passing exams.
The business relations are also seen in the small and medium-sized businesses, as is seen in this partnership between two Kenyans and a Japanese, namely Dr. Emmanuel Mutisia, Dick Olango, and Izumi Sakata. The trio sat down, looked at what each had to offer, and came up with OSA, a social design group which deals in innovative environmental products.
I myself used to be an JICA expert, and the other two Kenyans, they are the most active diaspora from Kenya and Japan. We are mainly doing with the environmental projects or sanitation projects.
We actually have two projects on sanitation. One is for toilets that actually don't use any water. We call them dry toilets. And the other one is one that uses very little water. It's called micro-flush toilet. It uses 1 liter of water to flush, compared to the typical toilet that uses 10 liters to flush.
The special thing with this solar sharing project is that the same area that is producing energy also produces agricultural products for food. Now, instead of what traditionally we know of agricultural production and solar energy, that when you use solar energy production, you cannot use that land for agricultural production, our current technology takes care of that problem, because we know
the impact of the interactions between Kenya and Japan, spanning across the levels, has been felt over the years, and the ideal is that they will see more advancement of people and their livelihoods, businesses, and the economy at large. Dann Mwangi, NTV in Japan.